What's up? Welcome into College Football Now. This is Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. That is Joey Peterson. The first college football playoff rankings for 2025 are set to drop tonight. Joey, these are the only rankings that matter. The AP writers in Idaho and everywhere else, this is your enjoy these last 30 minutes because moving forward, it's about those 12 members that are sipping cocktails at the Gaylord Texan and
hanging up their hats. You see that video?
Yeah, they have such a hard life getting put up in suites out in a resort. But we're going to find out how they rank the top 25 tonight and get kind of an early sneak peek on who's on the right side and on the wrong side of the 12-team college football playoff. Let us know which team you're representing. And, Joey, it's already November, man. The season's flying by.
Dude, it is wild. And it's one of those deals like, I don't know if it's crazier that it's November or it's crazier that a lot of teams only have 3 games left.
Yeah.
Which is so sad because all you do is wait and count down all summer long. You finally get to football season. Half of the Saturdays, you end up sad and pissed off anyway. And then you get to November, college football playoff rankings are here, and you're like, oh, wait, well, I got 3 more games
Where'd the
left.
season go?
Exactly. Where'd the season go? But it feels like the more and more and the longer we get into the transfer portal NIL era of this sport, the more parity we see, the more chaos we have, and the more confusion of how these CFP rankings are going to be tonight and how they'll end up in December.
There are some minor tweaks to the system this year that we will talk about. I do want to give a few shout-outs. We got Jack representing Notre Dame, Penn State from King Shavir. Rough go for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah.
Sammy Boy with Alabama. We got Gator Nation from Bryce. We'll see who their next head coach is going to be. King Javier in the chat. Ty Man, the Buckeye. We know who he's representing. Ohio State. Producer Jack is booing him for some reason. Not really sure why.
I didn't know Ohio State and ASU were rivals.
I don't know that storyline. yeah, exactly. Chua Lore going with Alabama. Some minor tweaks, Joey. Nothing crazy, but the main change to the 12-team playoff system is that last year, the 4 highest-ranked conference champions got the first 4 seeds, but they saw Boise State get one of those, and they were like, we're getting rid of this.
Exactly.
So now it's just the 4 highest-ranked teams. Now, the 5 highest-ranked college football conference champions still get automatic berths. So with there being 4 power conferences, obviously a group of 6 member will be represented. Right now, that's probably Memphis. We'll talk about that as it goes as well. But the seeding will just be the rankings. And then this year, the way it's played out, the group of 6 highest-ranked champion will be the 12 seed.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to go with it. I think it was one of those deals where they probably finalized the copy for it, and then they were like, oh, shoot, if a G5 team ends up having a bigger record than a Power 4 team and ends up winning, the G5 conference title, whatever, they're like, that would mean they'd get in over an ACC or a Big 12, and they're like, it's probably never going to happen. And then, boom, year 1, you got Boise State in the mix. So I think this is the right thing to do. What I want to see going forward, I don't think they're done finalizing what the college football playoff looks like.
Well, more expansion's coming.
Exactly.
We know that's coming.
But with more expansion, which I don't necessarily agree with, I do want to see more home games. I think that's a very, very fun part of this edition.
I think what they should do, regardless of how many teams, there should be to me, I would love home games until the end and then just do the Natty at the Rose Bowl every year. But I understand that's not going to happen. At least get to the semis.
Yes.
And then you've got the historic BCS games, New Year's Six.
Sugar Bowl, Cotton
Put those
Bowl.
on a rotator with the semis and the national championship, and let's call it a year. Like, I think that's the way to go. And honestly, if you still want to honor those games, maybe you can have some of these non-conference neutral site games. Hey, it's the Sugar Bowl kickoff game, and it's like Texas, Florida State, or whatever to kick off the season. Like, I still think you can have some of those traditions, but like, I'm with you. I think home playoff games, like, how cool was it last year? I know your boys lost, but Tennessee, Ohio State in a college football playoff game, like, that is awesome. Like, I think that's so cool. So only home games in the first round. I also think it's stupid. The first 4 seeds should get a home game.
Yes.
Like the 5.
They're not getting awarded.
Yeah, 5 through 8. Well, they're getting awarded with a bye, but they should also get a home game. that's another conversation for another day. I think the big talking point tonight, Joey, for me, is who is number one. Because I think you could make the case for all three teams. Ohio State, who was preseason number 1 or 2, depending on poll. Obviously, they have not lost. They beat fellow preseason number 1 or 2 Texas in week 1. Indiana, who you could argue has been the most dominant team. And then Texas A&M, who maybe has the best resume of the three teams, Joey. So I think it's a pretty interesting debate between these three teams. A for Ohio State, B for Indiana, C for Texas A&M in the chat. We'll go through my mock rankings here in a little bit, but I do think it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod tonight.
Yeah, especially because when you look at Ohio State and Indiana's schedule, there's a chance they end the season, Harrison, and not a single team they beat ends up being ranked outside of Indiana's win over Oregon. And
Which
so,
that could be the best win of all three of these teams.
100%. But it's just going to be interesting to see how it all fares out, what they weigh, strength of record, strength of schedule. Right now, to me, I feel like Ohio State is the best team in the country, but it's just so hard to tell given the talent that they are playing week in and week out. When Texas A&M feels like they're playing pretty good teams every single weekend, and they're absolutely dominating them. And then Indiana had the most impressive win of the season so far on the road against Oregon in Autzen Stadium. But I think whether you disagree with who's number 1 or number 2 or number 3, I think it's obvious these are the three best teams in the
Yeah,
country
they're the
right
last three unbeaten, except for BYU, Power 4, but I think there's a gap, just eye test, resume, all that stuff. Yeah, these are the top three teams, and I think we all agree they will be the top three teams. TAMU is trash.
She says, "Oh my shit, not C."
Kennedy, I don't think we've actually met yet. I also am not a fan of that team down in College Station, so hey, we can cheers to that. But they have a pretty strong resume. I will say this.
Good team.
I think it's the best A&M team of my lifetime.
I'm
not just saying that.
I don't even think there's a debate there. There's just not a lot of holes. Their wide receivers are elite. Their quarterback's a playmaker. Their defense is phenomenal. Their front four is great. And I really, really do like Mike Elko.
I think he's a good coach.
I hate to admit it. I love Mike Elko, even though I'm not a big fan of Texas A&M. They've really, really impressed me this year.
Yeah, no question about it. We love Prize Picks as well. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring tonight's show. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather may be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It's very easy to navigate the Prize Picks app as you toggle by sports, then specific stats within certain players available. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups, and if you hit, you win money. It's as simple as that. Little 3-player lineup on screen for you guys. Big game coming up on Thursday night. Took more on Bo Nix's rushing yards, more on J.K. Dobbins. What do we got here?
Yards on first rush.
Yards on first rush.
Yeah, 3.5.
Actually, this is Smitty's lineup that he sent me, and of course he finds that. This just goes to show Prize Picks has it all, baby, and then took the less on Ashton Genty's number there as well. 3-player lineup can go all the way up to 6 players. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots, by the way. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. All right, Joey, let's ask the people. We're a year and change into this now. Do you like the expanded playoff type? L for like, D for dislike. I think 12's a good number. I don't like that. I'm with you. I think if it keeps going, it's just going to get a little ridiculous. But I'm okay with where it's at right now. The only tweak I would make is what we discussed earlier, do one more round of home playoff games. But we know more's coming. I mean, these TV games just do such high numbers, more ads these networks can sell. I mean, we know the networks are running the sport at this point, so we've seen that with conference realignment. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with where it's at now, but I don't love the idea of 16, 18, potentially 24 down the road. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I just feel like the more teams you add to it, it dilutes the value of the regular season, which I think has taken a big hit over the last year or so with this expanded playoff. I don't think it's taken a big enough hit to where these games don't matter anymore, like a lot of people said going into them. And you can have exciting games this week 10. You know, you got Tennessee, Oklahoma. In the past couple of years, both those teams have 2 losses. Their seasons are over. Instead, it's a college football playoff elimination.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a tale of two swords because, yes, you can lose a random game. Well, our season's not over. But to your point, couple 2-loss teams duke it out in November. This is kind of a win-or-go-home game.
Yeah.
So I see both sides of it. Sam Brown's giving you the L behind the scenes because Tennessee outgained Oklahoma by 600 yards and somehow lost that game. Yeah, you know, I that's why I think we're at a good number.
Yes,
I think
agree.
if you keep going, it just gets a little boggled down. But I think we know that's coming. It's just a matter of when and what number they get to. Aren't they saying as soon as next year they could go to 14?
I think so. I just hope the max I want to see it, absolute max, is 16. Yeah. If it gets anything higher than 16, I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. We heard some of those rumors going around in the offseason about, maybe expansion to 24 and things like that, which would just be ludicrous in my opinion. But, hey, like you said, the networks run the sport, money runs the sports, and you could tell that with conference realignment.
Yeah, and even 16, it's like – the reason I like 12, it's like, okay, you're still chasing that bye, right? That's where the regular season still has a lot of value. Like Texas A&M right now, they beat Missouri. They're basically locked into the playoff, but you still want to win the rest of your games because you're chasing that first round bye. Yes. It's so critical to avoid having to play in the first round. So you go to 16, there's no byes. You kind of eliminate that. So all right, hit that like button if you haven't already. We got almost 200 people watching live. Help us out by hitting that thumbs up icon. We got about 17 minutes or so until we will hear from the College Football Playoff Committee. We're going to go through our mock rankings. A lot to discuss here as we await to see. This first one always feels important, Joey, because you kind of get a feel what this specific committee, what they value. Like last year, for example, you could tell early on they valued the ACC over the Big 12, for example, right? Because with 3 or 4 games left for most teams, you're kind of going to get some tells early on here that aren't going to drastically change. Obviously, wins and losses will change where teams go, but kind of what their tendencies are. I think you can learn a lot from these first rankings. Yeah,
there's going to be a couple of teams where their fates might feel sealed tonight based on where they land in the college football playoff rankings. These first ones, whether or not they really have some big games ahead of them. Like, think about South Carolina last year. They ended up being a 3-loss team, but they ended the season really, really hot, got a couple of big wins. But because of where they were those first week of the college football playoff rankings, it was kind of done and dusted of, okay, this team's ceiling, even if they do win out, no matter how impressive those wins are, they're probably not going to be able to make it into the college football playoff.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. We'll go through the AP Top 25, and then we'll get to my mock rankings. We'll give those newspaper writers some love one last
for
time.
For the last time.
For the top 3, they've got it Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. We'll see if I've got it the same. Bama over Georgia, that's head-to-head there. You've got to honor that. Oregon and then Ole Miss. I could see that being flipped. Ole Miss has more quality wins, so keep an eye on that tonight. BYU, Texas Tech. Winner of that game this weekend, Joey, driver's seat in the Big 12. And if Texas Tech wins it, could the Big 12 be like the ACC last year and sneak 2 teams in? I think if Tech loses second loss, that's a little tougher. But if Tech wins that game, both have 1 loss, there could be a path where both make it.
It's funny. It feels like the Big 12 and the SEC have kind of shifted this year where we're used to the SEC, let's say, a decade ago. There's a couple top teams. You got your Alabamas, your LSUs, your Georgias. Everybody else, there's a pretty big gap in between the two of them. The SEC is not like that this year. It's very compact, lots of talent, lots of really good teams. But in the Big 12, it feels like it's BYU, Texas Tech, Utah at the top. Then there's a pretty big fall off and everybody else comes below.
Yeah, it's a lot of tiers. There's 2 or 3 at the top, and there's like half of the rest of the conference that they all just beat each other up, and then there's a couple bad teams. I mean, that's pretty much how it is. the 2-loss teams are going to be interesting. Like Michigan's a 2-loss team, but they don't feel like a good 2-loss team. So, like, are they lurking? If they beat Ohio State again, they could get into the. They're probably in. They're probably in. Your Vols in there at 23. We'll see if who do they have left, by the way? Because one of these years a 3-loss team will get in.
Yeah, I don't think it's this year.
I don't think Tennessee's that team because they haven't beaten any of their quality opponents. They don't have enough good wins.
No,
so.
they got a bye week this week. New Mexico State after that. The nice, a little non-con game in November. And then they go on the road to the Swamp, a place they haven't won since 2003. And then they end this season with Vanderbilt at home. Yeah. So a chance to get a top 15 win there to kind of end this season in a good way.
If they went out with a good win at Vandy, though, to your point, that's not going to be enough,
it's not enough.
to correct.
They needed to beat Oklahoma, and they needed to beat Vandy at the end. They needed to win
out. Okay, is Texas a playoff team right now? If they win out, they absolutely are.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
They would have a win at Georgia. Right now, is Texas a playoff team? Prediction right now, Joey.
Let's hear it.
People are going to be shocked at how high Texas is ranked tonight. I think people are going to be like, Arch Manning's been bad this year. Texas looked horrible against Ohio State. They lost to Florida. I'm telling you right now, do not be shocked if they're in the 12-team bracket tonight.
Yeah, I think casual fans of the sport might be shocked. But I think those who actually – know how much Texas is valued by the college football playoff and how badly people want Texas to be good and to be back. Like, I feel like it's not going to be a surprise to see.
And look, let's face it, they smoked Oklahoma a few weeks ago. They just beat Vanderbilt. It hasn't looked great, really, hardly at all.
Yeah, it hasn't.
But you look up and you're like, the resume's pretty decent. Like, you lost by 7 in the horseshoe. At Florida, it's still a road SEC game.
Yep.
Not an easy place to play, and you have 2 top 15 wins over Vandy and Oklahoma. Like, you stack it up, it's like, it's a pretty good resume.
In my opinion, honestly, it feels a lot like Tennessee last year. They had to beat Florida in overtime, a bad Florida team at home. They barely squeaked by Mississippi State.
Yep.
They had Kentucky.
They should have lost to
Exactly. Kentucky gave them a lot of problems. The offense was ugly, defense really good, and they somehow ended up being a 2-loss team.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Mostly no's in the chat. I'm telling you, just do not be shocked if the Horns are higher ranked than you think. All right, we will get to my mock rankings momentarily. I'd be curious to see. I don't know if you've seen these.
I haven't. I'm excited. We got busy. We had a busy day with trade deadline stuff, so I didn't get to take a chance to get a peek at these. But
we'll see who I have number 1, how I stack some of the 2-loss and 1-loss teams. But we do have a super chat from Lord Buddyberry. Says, how come you haven't been live on Vols, Joey? Don't matter if it's 2, 4, 12, or 20 teams. There will always be a question why one team made it over another. Joey, you could take this one, obviously.
Yeah, it's 2 NFL teams. It's a grind in the fall. So with the how young the channel's been, we've been getting to just do post games at home. But hey, speaking of that, if you're a Vol fan, go ahead and subscribe to Tennessee Football Talk. 3-month-old channel, growing like crazy though, almost up to 9,000 subscribers. So join us today. Free daily content only on the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee football every single day.
Yeah, I'll say this, not to speak for you and your channel, but the way it's grown, if it continues this growth, you'll probably – maybe it's every week, maybe it's not. I'm guessing there will be much more watch parties next season.
100%.
That's probably in the cards.
Yeah, for sure.
Joey's doing a great job, so if you're a Vols fan or just want to go support, go check out his personal Tennessee football channel. Link is in the chat, I'm being told. So there you go.
There we go.
Okay, here are my projected top 25 teams. I got Washington in there. They've kind of beaten the bad teams and lost to their 2 quality opponents, but 2-loss Big Ten team. I've got them in the top 25. I do have Tennessee in there at 6-3. I think Memphis is the one team, Joey, that'll be in there. They do have an SEC victory. Yes. I know it's over Arkansas, but that's still a notable win for a G5 team. I think they've looked the part, so I've got them in there. Iowa's quietly plugging along. Their offense for the first time ever is not horrible. It's actually decent. It's not great, but it's better than what we're used to. I've got the Wolverines sitting there at 21. Not sure if you have a ton to break down there, but I think these are kind of fringe ranked teams right now.
100%. I mean, Washington and Iowa, those are both scary teams for some pretty Big Ten teams.
Iowa, Oregon this week at home, and Iowa is known for like an annual upset win at home at Kinnick Stadium, so keep an eye on that game. They beat Oregon. They're firmly in the playoff mix.
They are. And then you got to ask the question, what happens to Oregon's resume if they get beat by Iowa?
They could plummet a little bit, no question. I got USC at 20. Much-needed comeback win over Nebraska once Dylan Raiola got hurt. Not a huge believer in the Trojans, but I do think they're an improved team. Jaden Mayav a fun player at quarterback. Mekhi Lemon's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you've watched him this year, but that receiver's a stud.
He's unbelievable.
Utah, I think, kind of re-enters the Big 12 discussion after smoking Cincinnati. Just dismantling them. If they didn't have some injuries earlier in the year, they might be 8-1. Miami at 6-2. Another failure from Mario Cristobal. They're going to have to win out and get some help, I think. The non-con might help them get back into the mix if they get to 10-2. But, dude, I said it before the season. If Mario does not make the playoff with this roster in the ACC, like, I'm not saying fire the guy, but, like, I don't know how you can defend that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just inexcusable.
Who cares about how he's recruiting and how much talent he's bringing in if he can't win with that talent? And like last year, they had the excuse of, the defense is horrible. They've gotten so much better talent-wise on defense over the last year, and they're still dropping these games against teams. They have far better rosters.
And I got to be honest.
He just gets out-coached.
He gets out-coached, and Carson Beck's one of the worst leaders I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just throwing people under the bus. He stinks.
Throwing picks.
Yeah.
Those are the only two things he throws.
He throws picks, people under the bus, and, it's
the occasional touchdown.
It was a tough weekend for the ACC last
was.
week, Joey. Miami goes down. Georgia Tech went down to NC State. I think going into that week, if you ask people what's more likely, ACC or Big 12 gets two teams, I think that flipped. I think after the weekend, it became more likely the Big 12 does than the ACC. Missouri there at 6-2. They're 16th as well. They got a couple big games coming up. They got A&M at home. That's either this weekend or next weekend. And then I think they have one more ranked opponent. So at Oklahoma, which that could be another elimination game.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Teams play.
It's going to be interesting how Drinkwitz kind of navigates through the storm of having to be on his third quarterback. Two really big injuries for Missouri. Of course, that Bo Prabula one coming in that massive game.
Is that season ending or where?
I believe so.
Oh man,
yeah.
That's tough. And Drinkwitz is going to be linked to a lot of these jobs too. By
He's
the
linked
way,
to every one of them.
Stick with us tonight. We are going to take a look at the Auburn head coach opening after we react to the college football playoff rankings. So we will talk about that. Louisville. I'll tell you what, Joey. Jeff Brom, to your point. Miami losing to inferior talent. Louisville has no business beating Miami, and they did.
Yep.
Jeff Brom's one of the best coaches in college football. I mean, he's a magician, has them in the mix to win the ACC this year right there with a month to go. So
yeah, I can't wait till a big Power 4 job takes a shot on Brom.
Yeah, I think he's worthy. Vanderbilt tumbles a few spots in my projected rankings, but if you're a 2-loss SEC or Big Ten team, you win out, you're going to be in the playoffs. Same with Oklahoma, who's ranked at 13th after that win over the Vols. I got Texas at 12. They beat both the teams below them head-to-head, so you can't rank them below them, even if at times the other two teams have looked better. They've beaten them both, and they beat them both recently. So I've got them at number 12. The Fighting Chandler Morris and Tony Elliott's at number 11. Year 6 for Morris in his 4th college. That would be a hell of a story if they won the ACC and made the CFP.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of Virginia love. My little sister is a senior there right now.
Nice.
And so with Tennessee pretty much out of the picture, I'm all Hoos for the rest of the year. They're one of those teams that I cannot pin down. They just win close games. And you can't kill them.
They're kind of like Indiana last year. I think we all know, even if they make the playoffs, they're not going to win a game.
Yes.
But I still want them to make the playoffs.
I do too, man. Let's get spicy.
That would be awesome. Notre Dame, I think, has the simplest scenario. If they win out, they're a playoff team. If they lose even once, they are out.
Yep. You can't drop those too early like you did, even though, that loss against A&M, that close on a pretty much last-second play is not looking that bad right now, but still, you lost the first 2 games you played.
Yeah, so you got to win out, but if they do, they'll be in. Texas Tech, I've got them at number 9. BYU at 8, obviously the better record there, undefeated there. They play each other this weekend, College game day in Lubbock. So that's a big one. If you're a Big 12 fan, I think you want Tech to win this game because then both teams are still firmly alive for the college football playoff. Oregon at number 7. I've got them behind Ole Miss, Joey, because and we can reveal Ole Miss here, Jack. Ole Miss just has better wins. I mean, it's as simple as that. You could debate whose loss is better. They both have quality loss, one to Georgia, one to Indiana. But to me, if it's close, I'm going to take a look at what wins you have, and Ole Miss is beating a couple of ranked opponents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that Lane Kiffin is in the conversation pretty much for every single job that comes open. What he's done this year with Ole Miss, you think about all the talent he lost last year to the NFL.
Trinidad Chambliss transferred in from Ferris State. He was the backup. Austin Simmons, is that his name? The starter gets banged up. They turn to this kid. He might be a draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like Lane Kiffin just plugs away. Here he goes. Let's put Trinidad Chambliss out there. He's been a lot of fun to watch. So, barring a meltdown down the stretch, which Lane's been known to do.
Yes. Hopefully not another Florida game down the road.
Oh, Jackson Dart throwing fair catches to the Gators. I'll never. He was off my draft board after that. He's playing well, though, for the Giants. Okay, top 5 here. I got Georgia at 5, Bama at 4. Again, kind of like the Texas Oklahoma situation. Got to honor head-to-head there. Georgia's had a weird year. I mean, they easily could have like 3 losses, but they've been clutch. They've been tough when they've had to. This is not a vintage Kirby Smart defense.
No.
But the offense is better than it normally is. I was not a Gunnar Stockton believer, Joey, but he's been pretty good.
I was on record of saying Gunnar Stockton blows, and then he threw for almost 400 against my favorite football team. So I'll shut my mouth about Gunnar Stockton for the rest of the year.
I wasn't a huge Ty Simpson guy either, and he's a Heisman finalist right now, so he's been fantastic for Bama. Give Kalen DeBoer credit after that debacle against Florida State in Week 1. They've been really good since. And then I've got the 3 unbeatens. I got Texas A&M at 3, Ohio State at 2, Joey. I've got Indiana at number 1, and we said it earlier. I think there's a case to be made for all 3. I think Indiana's been the most dominant team. Now, do I think they're can I say with 100% confidence they're the best team? I mean, Ohio State's got more talent. Texas A&M probably has a little bit more talent. I do think Mendoza's the best quarterback out of these 3 teams right now. I like all 3. Marcel Reed, when he's like a streaky shooter. When he's on, he's the best quarterback in the country, but he'll have stretches where he misses 7 out of 10 throws. And then saying he's coming along nicely, but they've kind of had like an easy stretch here in terms of games. Indiana controlled Oregon for 4 quarters. And they win every game by like 50 points.
They massacre teams every Saturday.
They're just killing people.
Yeah.
So, like, I think game control is a metric that I like. It's like, how dominant are you? And they are dominant every single week. So, I've given Indiana the edge here. I think they're the best team right now. I've got them at number 1, but it's very close. If they told me they flipped this or Ohio State was 1, A&M was 1, I'd be totally fine with it. I do think there's a clear top 3 right now, but I like the Hoosiers up top.
Yeah, I do as well. It's hard to say, how good Ohio State truly is. I cannot wait to see them eventually in the Big Ten Championship, but it's just hard to say given the schedule they've had so far.
It would be cool if we got Indiana, Ohio State undefeated for the number 1 seed on the line.
That would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool if we got that in the Big Ten title game. All right, are you guys ready for the playoff committee to reveal their CFP rankings? They are getting those finalized right now. We will get that information and pass it along to you guys shortly. Type me if you are ready to go. Also, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be here every single Tuesday night the rest of the way, and then that final Sunday after Championship Saturday when we find out who the 12 playoff teams are. But spam me in the chat. I've got Eddie, Curry, Jacob, Mike, Gene, Harold. We've got Packers, Discord, Noah, Mort, Crunch, Kevin Wright, Micah, Jay Moosey, Ristify, John, K, Ram. The College Football Playoff Committee is finalizing their rankings, and we react with all of you next here at Chat Sports. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. He's Joey Peterson. We are just awaiting to hear from the College Football Playoff Committee to find out who they have in their top 25 rankings tonight. Joey, a quick reminder for the audience, for those just tuning in, is as follows. It is still a 12-team system, second year of that. There are still 5 automatic bids for the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, but the big difference this year, Joey, is that the rankings are just the rankings. Other than that 5th conference champion, they don't have to be in the top 12. They would earn an automatic berth regardless. Right now, that's probably Memphis, but we'll find out tonight. But other than that, it's the same system as last year. Home games in the first round, top 4 seeds get a bye, go from there.
Yeah, and whether you like it or not, we all know that this is never going to be perfect. What I do like about the changes from last year's to this year is that they made changes, right? They knew that the system wasn't even close to perfect last year. They're switching things up. You know, obviously, I wish they'd have a little bit more home matchups. We talked about that earlier, but I do think they get it right of seeds 1 through 4, not the highest conference champions getting that first round bye.
Yeah, I totally agree on that front. Let us know. First of all, subscribe to the channel. We'll be here every single week. We also cover the NFL, the NBA here at Chat Sports. Our college football content will continue to increase. A lot of big-time open jobs right now,
gosh.
Joey, so we're kind of doing more college football coverage than ever. Florida's open, LSU's open, Penn State's open, Arkansas, Auburn, which tonight after the rankings, we're going to do our first Auburn hot board, take a look at 10 candidates that we think could be in the mix there. So we will do that. But first things first, who do you guys think should be the number 1 team? Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. It's a clear top 3, Joey. We'll find out what this committee thinks in a few minutes.
Yeah, it feels like there's different arguments for all 3 of them. Ohio State probably has the best roster. Indiana probably has the best win all year long, going on the road and beating Oregon in Austin Stadium. But Texas A&M has more and a stronger strength of record, a strength of schedule. So really for all 3 of those teams, I can hear each and every one of those arguments. For me right now, I feel like what Indiana's doing, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, what they are doing week in and week out, again, they have the best win of the season so far. Indiana, would not be shocked to see them at number 1.
Yeah, I've got them ranked number 1. I think the way, not just beating Oregon, but the way they did on the road was impressive. I like the way Fernando Mendoza is playing. They're just better than they were last year.
Yeah.
They obviously were the surprise of college football last year. They're better in the trenches. Their defense isn't getting enough love right now just because of how fun the offense is, but they're good on that side of the ball. And as we mentioned a minute ago, they're just dominant. They just kill people every week. I mean, you look at their schedule right now. Indiana, as I just X'd out of the schedule here, pull it back up. Their last 8 games, 56-9, 73-0. Illinois, 63-10. They're not as good as we thought, but still. 63-10. Iowa played them close, 20-15. I think Iowa's better than people think. They beat Oregon by 10 on the road. They smacked Michigan State by 25. UCLA was legitimately playing well. Big noon kickoff went to Indiana for that game. They beat them by 50. It was just ridiculous. Maryland, who has a good quarterback, beat them 55-10. It's not like they're skating by these average Big Ten teams. They are burying them in the first quarter and a half and leaving no doubt. So it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to get past the look of having Indiana at the top of these college football playoff rankings just because of the name value of it. But if it was Ohio State, if it was Alabama, if it was Georgia that had that same exact schedule, those same exact results, then I think we'd be here saying, pounding the table, there's no way this team can't be number 1 in the country.
Indiana beat Illinois by 53 points. Ohio State beat them by 18.
Yeah.
And I know it's college football. Every single week's different. But, I think, if you're close between the two, okay, let's look at common opponents. That's a big difference. That is a big difference. Hit that like button. We are awaiting to hear from the College Football Playoff Committee. We will reveal the rankings with you as we hear from the committee. I don't know if they're revealing. No, they're just explaining right now. TV network, there's just like an hour behind us, no big deal. We're just here chopping it up, explaining all the situations here.
If you hate ESPN and YouTube TV, let us know
like
down
the
below.
Video.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, we need more likes, man. That's painful. It's
That is
painful
pretty
to hear.
painful.
Also, shout out your favorite team in the chat. We'll get some shout outs going.
We got an Alabama from Junior Estrada. Vic saying, I hate YouTube TV. And Mort is pissed at ESPN and YouTube TV. Caleb is a Nebraska fan. Bradford is loving him some Georgia Tech. Packers own your poverty franchise as a Bama fan. And we're going to get into the rankings.
Yeah, here we go. Not wasting too much time here as they should reveal from 25 to 1. The Tennessee Volunteers sneak in there. Always get a 3-loss SEC in the top 25 of these first rankings. They're at number 25. Pitt, I did consider them in my mock rankings, but they lost to West Virginia in the non-con, so I left them out. But they've been playing good ball as of late. The Pitt Panthers, might be Pitt in the autographics, not sure. Pittsburgh at number 24. Tennessee and Pitt sneaking inside. I wonder who that knocks out of my mock rankings. Can't remember.
Washington?
Maybe Washington or Memphis. Maybe no G4 teams.
Yeah.
G6 teams. Yeah, Washington 23. I don't think they're having a single group of 5 team ranked.
They learned their lesson from last year.
They're like, oh, we're going to overcompensate.
Yeah, exactly.
What if none are ranked at the end? Does someone get the nod? How do they do that? Missouri at number 22. That's a lot lower than I would have thought.
Way
That's
lower than I would have
interesting.
thought as well.
You wonder if that's a little tell from the committee tonight.
I think they don't respect the wins they've gotten. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at Missouri's schedule, they haven't beaten. They're
Played-
very similar to Tennessee. Have
Yeah,
not beaten a lot of good
true.
opponents.
Played
They've
Bama
lo-
close, but
Yeah.
Tennessee's kind of done the same thing. Michigan at 21. I think that's where we had them as well. So there's 21 through 25. Tennessee 25, Pitt 24, Washington 23, and Mizzou 22. Michigan 21. I think it's safe to say these are going to be all Power 4 teams in the top 25 tonight.
Michigan's an interesting team. They can make things super
If they
chaotic
beat,
over the next
Ohio
couple of
State
weeks.
again, it could be interesting. All right, hit that subscribe button as we await for the top 20 here. We'll be here every single week. Iowa at number 20. I think they're a team to watch, Joey. They got Oregon at home this weekend. If they win that game, that spices things up in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and they always get a sneaky win every single year, like you mentioned earlier. They played Ohio State really well. That's not an easy place to go in and play. And if you're Oregon, you're traveling from the West Coast all the way to Iowa. That's not going to be easy.
They're the one
to do
team
either.
that's slowing down Indiana's offense,
Yep.
too. They held them to 20 points. So
They slow down pretty much everybody's offense, if
Yeah,
we're being real
true.
about it. The classic Iowa football every single
Kirk
weekend.
Ferentz.
Yep, exactly.
Extension coming.
It's never going to be pretty, but the results speak for themselves.
USC at number 19 at 6-2. There's kind of different tiers of 2-loss teams.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm a believer in either of these two teams, but they're lurking. If they can win a game or two they're not supposed to, then maybe, just maybe, they sneak in.
Yeah, and I think USC has one of, if not the best wide receivers in the nation
Yeah,
as
Mekhi
well.
Lemon's been very good. Miami drops to 18, at least in comparison to the other polls from previous weeks. Really bad couple of weeks for them. I mean, they lose a game to Louisville where Carson Beck has like 4 picks, and then they lose to SMU in overtime in a game that should have never gotten to that point. Not a good look for Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes.
Second year in a row where Miami starts off the season undefeated. You're saying, hey, everything's out in front of you, and then they just fumble.
Stumble. Not just once, multiple times.
Yep.
Georgia Tech at number 17 at 8-1. You wonder where they'd be ranked had they won over the weekend, but
Yeah.
they got smoked.
They did.
By NC State, gave up 48 points.
And I think the funny thing is I think people could have seen Miami's loss to SMU. SMU's a good team.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody saw Georgia Tech losing this past
No,
weekend.
especially not the way they did. Vanderbilt at number 16 at 7-2. Diego Pavia, Joey's favorite player, and the boys are in the mix. Jeff Brom and Louisville at number 15. So you got 3 ACC teams kind of in the mid-teens there, Joey, with Louisville, Miami, and Georgia Tech between 15 and 18, and Virginia at 14. So 4 ACC teams in the mid-late teens.
Yeah, the college football playoff is not as high on the Hoos as you are. You had them all the way up
I had
there
them at 11.
at 11 in
Yep.
your mock rankings. But Virginia, they're like the ACC version of Georgia this year. They're just hard to kill. They win close games. They're scrappy. Obviously, different talent perspectives, but
by the way, this tells me ACC is almost certainly just a one-bid league.
Yep.
Utah at 13. That's good news for the Big 12. Last year, this committee liked the ACC more than the Big 12. I think this is a signal that this year they like the Big 12 better because there's still BYU and Texas Tech to go.
Yeah, and I've really, really been impressed with Utah. I just feel like year in, year out, they're such a good team. I'm glad that they're finally, moving on from the Cam Rising years and just looking forward and leaving that behind. And Kyle Whittingham, I think, is one of the best coaches in college football.
Great coach. They always have a good defense. Devin Dampier is a fun quarterback. Yep. They're fun to watch. And at 13, if they win out, Joey, I mean, probably a playoff team. So Oklahoma at number 12 at 7-2. You would guess Texas is 11 or 10 because they beat Oklahoma head-to-head, which means, as predicted, they are in the 12-team bracket. And there they are at number 11, the Texas Longhorns. I actually don't know what they're going to do with the bracket tonight, Joey, because they don't have a group of 6 team ranked. Do they have post, like, beyond top 25 rankings? Like, who would they put in the bracket for the 5th conference champion?
I think they would just say –
just project someone?
Just pick whoever the highest-ranked G5 team they believe is.
But they don't have one ranked.
I know, which seems a little shoddy right now.
Do they rank beyond the top 25?
You feel like that should be a requirement. Hey, at least throw them in at 25. You got to get one in there.
Just put one in there.
For clarification.
Washington can wait.
Exactly.
Pitt, we'll see you.
Is it just on merit that we say, okay, trust us, it's Memphis?
Yeah, seriously. Top 10 coming up. We are so close to 421,500 subscribers. Help us out. Subscribe. We got Notre Dame at number 10. The Fighting Irish. We said it earlier. We'll say it again, Joey. They went out there in the playoff. I think they lose even once. They got no shot at getting in. So everything's in front of the Fighting Irish at this point in time. Bit of a wake-up call, I would think. They kind of were stuck in the mud against a bad Boston College team over the weekend. So they play Navy this week, who suffered their first loss of the year. So potentially a sneaky trap game. We'll see how they play.
Yeah, I don't think, I think that them losing to Miami at the time and through the first 6 weeks of the season, you're like, oh, that's a good loss. But now as Miami keeps losing, you wonder if that's going to affect anything with Notre Dame's ranking. But now they have them at 10.
I don't think it affects their chances of getting in if they win out. But maybe it affects how high they could go in a potential seeding scenario. Because if they get into the top 8, they'd have a home game, but if they're 9 or 10, that's where I think it could affect things. But clearly, they're already 10. If they win out, they're going to be.
It'd be back-to-back years for home games for the Fighting Irish as they took down Indiana last year.
Oregon, I'm not surprised by this, Joey. They're at number 9. They're kind of saying what we said earlier. They look the part. They're a good team, but as significant as that Penn State win felt at the time, it's not anymore. They have 0 ranked wins on the resume. They're down there at number 9 behind a lot of one-loss teams coming up.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent at Oregon. Obviously, they're loaded there. I really like Dan Lanning. I think he's one of the best head coaches in college football. But I think you look at what happened last year when they got into the playoff. They're the best team overall. They won the Big Ten, had the first-round bye, and then just got smoked in the Rose Bowl. Obviously, he's got a big chip on his shoulder. Curious to see how they finish out this season. Maybe they'll benefit from not making it to the Big Ten championship, getting an extra week of rest, getting a home game.
The remaining schedule at Iowa, Minnesota at home, USC at home, at Washington. So
not easy.
None of those are layups. None of those are gauntlet games. Yeah. But, Minnesota smoked Nebraska a few weeks ago. At Iowa's always tough, like we mentioned. USC's solid this year, and at Washington's never an easy game.
They're playing 3 teams that are in the college football playoff rankings. So.
Texas Tech at number 8. You would imagine BYU will be next. Top 8 matchup in Lubbock.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Good night for the Big 12.
Get the tortillas ready.
You got 2 teams ahead of Oregon in the Big 12. You got Utah at number 13. So that's a win for the Big 12 tonight as BYU comes in at number 7.
And we talked about it earlier. I think that does seal it, that the College Football Playoff Committee is looking at the Big 12 as not only superior to the ACC, but far superior, having 2 teams in the top 8 and then Utah there at 13.
Yeah. Ole Miss at number 6. Lane Kiffin in a lot of headlines these days, but they keep plugging along. really outside of a bad fourth quarter against Georgia, they've been one of the most dominant teams this year.
Tell me right now, does Lane Kiffin stay at Ole Miss?
I'm going to say yes,
Okay.
which is kind of weird to say. I think the LSU, the governor thing, that feels weird.
Not a lot of stability.
I don't like his fit at LSU either. Like, they need, like, I don't know. I don't love that fit. And I don't know. Is there a big difference between Ole Miss and Florida at this point? If they're going to invest, like, what's the difference?
Yep.
Okay, Georgia 5, Bama 4. We talked about that earlier. That's the head-to-head situation, so no surprise there. Bama, the highest-ranked one-loss team. Texas A&M 3. We'll see if I nailed the top 5 here, as I have Indiana 1, and the AP has Ohio State 1. So
I've got
see.
a feeling Indiana's going to be 2. Ohio State's going to stay at 1. But who knows? They've done things.
Sometimes in these first
before.
rankings, they'll like do a little splash, like, oh, well, Indiana.
Yeah, I've been, talking about these 3 teams. We've talked a lot about A&M. I've been really, really impressed with Alabama. I've been impressed with Kalen DeBoer. Ty Simpson's been phenomenal. And for how their season started off, it's been great.
You are correct, Joey Peterson. The Indiana Hoosiers are at number 2, which means the Ohio State Buckeyes are at number 1. Really no issue. I like any of those 3. You could have talked me into being 1 through 3, but that is the way it falls. Hit that subscribe button. We will go back through the rankings here in a moment, but let us know. Also, grade the committee's rankings, A, B, C, D, or F, but don't go anywhere. We'll react more to these rankings, and we'll take a look at our first Auburn football head coaching search hot board after they fired Hugh Freeze over the weekend. So stick with us here. Some interesting names on that list.
Dude, it's hot board season.
Yeah.
Every single week for the past 5 weeks? We've had a head coach a lot there,
Memphis is the
there we go.
the 12th team, by the way.
NR. Or is that a U? No, it's an N. Not ranked.
So there you go.
Texas first team out.
I think we had the right 12 teams
We
because
did.
Virginia, the highest-ranked ACC team, so they're in there. Didn't have the rankings right, but we got the right 12 teams in the bracket. So there you go. That is how things played out. This is how it looks as of now. What's wrong with it?
It's not. It has Texas needs to be in there, or that's Texas in there.
No, Texas is the first team out. No. Texas is the first team out.
Yeah.
Virginia's 11. They're the ACC champ.
Other than that, I think
We'll
it's
get the
perfect.
bracket on screen for you guys. That's not the bracket.
No, it's not.
Push it
That's
across
the
now.
bracket. There we
Right
go.
there. There's the bracket as of now. Virginia and Memphis get the final 2 seeds because they are projected conference champions. So that is that. Remember, even though the 4 highest-ranked conference champs don't get the top 4 seeds, the top 5 conference champions do get automatic bids, which guarantees a group of 6 representation. That is Memphis. And even though the ACC doesn't have a top 12 team, Virginia is the highest-ranked one. So they are in the bracket as of now. Just looking at this, Joey, which game intrigues you the most? I'll be honest, the slate kind of stinks.
Yeah, I'm not loving it right now. The
Texas
good thing
Tech,
is,
Oregon, maybe?
Oh, that's where I
That's
was
a
going to
good
go.
game.
Texas Tech, Oregon.
Yeah, Mormons and Catholics. You got that going on. That's a new 30 for 30 we can launch.
Can Chandler Morris keep it going
Chandler
and take
Morris,
down the final
Trinidad
fighting
Chambliss
Lane Kiffin?
sends Lane to Gainesville.
And you wonder how the whole Ole Miss college football playoff thing, how that's going to factor into Lane's decision. Because if he's playing through
If
the
they're
new
winning,
year,
yeah, I mean, I think he'll just be like, I'll talk to you guys after the season, and
Yep.
if you want to wait, cool. If not, I'll just stick around and get another raise and make $12 million a year. Like, it's not so bad.
That's not-
The benefit to staying too, it's like they'll never fire him.
nope. He'll have
LSU
statue,
has shown they'll fire you in 3 years.
even if you make an SEC championship 2 years prior, 3 years prior. He'll have statues. He'll have streets named after him. He'll have everything at Ole Miss.
Also,
if he
is it
stays.
that far-fetched to say they could win a natty this year? Like, I wouldn't predict it right now, but, like, they've played one bad quarter against Georgia. Otherwise, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, it feels like anybody could win right now.
yeah.
Or maybe not anybody.
8 teams?
It was like 8 teams.
8 or so teams.
Which I feel like we kind of knew coming into this. We didn't know what the 8 teams were going to be, but we knew that at this point, after NIL, after the transfer portal, this thing's not so top-heavy.
I think the Big 3 and the Big 10, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, all have enough talent to win it. I think
top 4
A&M,
in the
Bama,
SEC?
Georgia, and Ole Miss could all win it. I don't think a Big 12 team. Tech has a loaded roster. I think they could make like a run to the semis.
Yeah.
Because they have a good roster. Notre Dame could win it.
They could.
I mean, their 2 losses are down to the wire, and C.J. Carr is the best quarterback they've had like in 20 years. Yeah. Jeremiah Love's a stud. Jadarian Price, if their defense keeps coming along. So,
and I mean, they made is it crazy to think that this team of Notre Dame is better than last year's team?
They're better offensively for sure. I don't think the defense is as good, but they are better offensively.
And they
Carr's
made
an upgrade over Leonard.
Yeah,
the backs are even better. Their skill talent's better. Their defense isn't as good, but it has come along.
I do believe their offense has improved more than their defense has taken a step back.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. I think if they replayed Miami tomorrow, I would pick them to win by a touchdown or more.
Mom's saying A. Chua is giving it an A. Eric Simmons giving it an A. Jupiter giving him a C. Jacob giving it a C. King Sojin giving him an F. John Lyon giving those a B. Ty Man the Buckeye is giving it an A. That's no shock right there. Ty Man's giving those rankings an A.
Producer Jack B. rolling the rankings for you guys. I think a couple things stand out to me tonight. One, they are honoring quality wins. That's why Oregon's a little bit lower than the other one-loss teams.
Yep.
2, they're staying consistent with the head-to-head. You love to see that.
Yep.
And 3, Big 12 over ACC. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, moving forward, it's like, okay, we know the Big 10 and the SEC are going to have a lot of teams in the mix, but on an annual, year-to-year basis, which is that third power conference that has a chance to get multiple teams in? Last year, the ACC did that. It looks like so far the Big 12 is in better position to be that conference this year.
Yeah, and another thing they're telling us, maybe a little bit smaller of a takeaway, but it feels like Missouri doesn't have that good of a shot. The good thing is for Missouri, though, if you are an Eli Drinkwitz fan, you have your fate in your hands as you play A&M this weekend, and then in 2 weeks after that, November 22nd, you go on the road to Oklahoma. So a chance to get 2 more.
If they went out, I still think they would be in.
For sure.
Because they would be a top 3 A&M team. They'd beat a ranked Oklahoma team. A 10-2 SEC team is making the playoff. However, they have no path with a third loss.
Yes.
I think – are there any teams that you could see right now getting in with 3 losses? Like, is there someone in these rankings that you're like, is the team I said coming into the year, 2 teams coming into the year, I thought it was
Can
possible.
I guess?
Yes.
Florida, Oklahoma.
Yep. Florida's obviously out. Oklahoma's had a gauntlet. If Michigan were to win out and they have that non-con win over Michigan and they're a 9-3 team, I think they're the team that has the best chance given the resume.
I agree. And John Mateer's been shaky, obviously, since the hand surgery.
He's going to have to play better
in that second half against Tennessee. He had a really bad first half. But I think we all know that when John Mateer is at his best, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Now, will he ever get there again? This year at least, because of that surgery? That's still to be found out. That's still to be answered. But what he can do with his legs, what he can do with his arm when he's feeling it, when he's hot, he's one of the best in the country.
No question about it. All right. Let's show the bracket one more time, Jack, so the people can see it. And then we're going to get into our Auburn hot board and call it a night. So,
lots of hot boards.
Yeah, lots and lots of hot boards. Here it is, folks. Again, just to clear up any confusion, the big change this year is the top 4 teams are just the top 4 teams. You don't have to be a conference champion. It's just based purely on rankings, which is why it's 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC in there. In the top 4, Virginia is the 4th conference champion, highest ranked team out of the ACC. That's why they're in there at 11, despite not being a top 12 team. And then Memphis, who isn't even ranked tonight, Joey, is the 12 seed. I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like, just put, even if you don't have, just put them at 25.
Put them at 25.
You're just confusing people.
Exactly.
I think Pitt will be okay.
Washington's going to be just fine. Yes. Jed Fish and his boys don't care. I can promise you
Jed
that.
Fish and the fellas know they have to win out to have a chance. So it doesn't make a difference. All right. Let's talk a little Auburn. Hugh Freeze fired over the weekend. Were you surprised, by the way, by that?
No, I figured the loser of that game, their coach, was not going to go into Sunday with a job.
Was that Mississippi State?
It was Kentucky and Auburn.
Man.
Yeah.
I wonder what Mark Stoops' buyout is, because he's gotten a couple raises over the years. It's probably not as small as people would think.
I bet it's
30, 40 million.
I was about to say, I bet it's more than whatever Hugh Freeze's was. And
Yeah.
the thing about Hugh Freeze, man, is they were recruiting really, really well. He just bet on Jackson Arnold, and you can ask Sam Brown. That is not a bet you win most of the time.
That is not a bet you want to make. All right, we'll talk about some potential replacements for Hugh Freeze. Coming up next, College Football Now continues here at Chat Sports. Another big-time college football job has opened up as Hugh Freeze was fired over the weekend at Auburn. So we're going to take a look at 10 potential replacements to be the next Auburn football head coach. I'm Harrison Graham. He's Joey Peterson. This is College Football Now by Chat Sports. Before we dive into this, Joey, I don't know if we're going to do as much college football coverage as we are this year. Auburn's open, LSU's open, Florida's open, Arkansas, Penn State, potentially a few more high-profile jobs. We're going to have the latest rumors, the latest coaching hot boards, recruiting, transfer portal, college football playoff rankings every Tuesday night. Subscribe to the channel and keep us locked in. And Joey, it just never quite clicked for Hugh Freeze down in Auburn.
It didn't, and it's funny. When they originally made this hire, I thought it was going to be a good one. Obviously, I think more people were worried about what was going to happen off the field when it came to Hugh Freeze as opposed to what was going to happen on the field. And I told you just a little bit ago, I think it just boils down to he couldn't get the quarterback position right. They were recruiting at an elite level. They were out recruiting Alabama in their own state. He just took a bet on Jackson Arnold, and as we've seen from Oklahoma and now from Auburn, that's a bet you don't win.
Look, I understand why they moved on from Hugh Freeze. I think he lost his fastball. I do wonder, though, with how crowded this search is, like, will they look back and be like, we maybe should have just waited an extra year just to see what happens? But they've made their decision, and now they are looking for their next guy. We'll go from 10 to 1 here. Jimbo Fisher, the former Texas A&M coach, the former Florida State coach, sipping macchiatos these days. Who knows what he's up to? But has guided SEC and ACC programs before, Joey. You wonder if he gets another crack at a high-profile job.
I might be crazy, okay? But if you hire Jimbo Fisher and put it in his contract, you cannot call plays, I don't think that would be that bad of a hire.
Yeah.
He's an elite recruiter. He proved that at A&M. He proved that at Florida State.
He's a player's coach.
He's a player's coach. If you can just make sure he hires a young, good offensive coordinator that handles the play-calling duties, I don't think that would be that bad of a hire.
Honestly, bring Bobby Petrino with you again.
Yes,
I'm serious.
But let him call the plays this time.
Yes, Bobby has to call the plays.
Yeah.
Yes. How about John Gruden? I know Josh Pate was saying a few months ago that he thinks Gruden could get a job in the SEC. I think Arkansas Auburn feels about right. Like, I don't think he's getting the LSU job. I don't think he's getting the Florida job. But if you're Auburn and it's not like the strongest pool of candidates this year and you're not going to beat out LSU and a couple of these, do you take a chance on John Gruden? I'm not convinced he could be a great coach in college, but who knows? We know he's energetic as hell, and that's what it takes at the college level.
Yeah, and we know that guys like to play for him. They like to play for him at the NFL level. He said himself he would love to coach in the SEC. And I feel like if you're Auburn, you feel like you're in the middle of the pack of the SEC right now. Why not take a shot? You can't go much lower. And see if John Gruden will work out on the plains.
It's not like Hugh Freeze came in with a clean track record.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, so yeah, it'd be interesting. And I think Gruden's pretty hungry for another shot to coach in the NFL or college because he doesn't want to go out the way he did.
Yeah, I think he'd be an elite recruiter. I do.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It would all come down to the staff.
Yep.
Like, you got to have guys who have coached at this level. So that would be the key. Jeff Brom, you do wonder, is he a fit in the SEC specifically? I don't know, but I mean, what he did at Purdue, what he's doing at Louisville, like, it's really impressive, Joe. He's great with quarterbacks. That is something Hugh Freeze could not figure out at Auburn. So I know Freeze kind of had a reputation for being good with quarterbacks as well, but what Jeff Brom did with Tyler Shuck last year, what he's doing with Miller Moss this year, like, he's got a track record now of getting the most out of, average talents. And you do wonder if one of these top 15, 20 programs hands him the keys at some point.
Exactly. If you're able to do at a school like Louisville, what Jeff Brom has been able to do over these past couple of years, it's going to draw some eyes. And I think that's for good reason. I'm really, really impressed with what he does every single season. I think he's one of the best head coaches in Power 4 right now. And I think it'd be silly to not give him a shot, especially when you are a school like Auburn and you go from Brian Harsin and then you go to Hugh Freeze. All you want right now is some stability. And I think Jeff Brom is that perfect thing.
Yeah, no question about it. Alex Golesh at South Florida, he's going to get one of these jobs eventually. I don't know if this is the one. Does Florida take a look at him? Not a far change up for him that would be, so we'll see. But he's done a great job at a program that was in shambles. Did he take over for Charlie Strong, or was there someone in between? I can't remember, but
I don't remember. He left Tennessee in 2022 after that season.
Either way, it was South Florida was in the dumpster.
Yes.
And he's done a great job.
Yeah, not only is he winning, but he's also recruiting really well.
Yeah.
I think he's obviously a great offensive mind. He's a player's coach. He's a leader. He's one of those guys that you would run through a brick wall for. I think whoever does give him a shot at a Power 4 job, they're not going to regret it.
He's done a great job with Byron Brown as well.
Yep.
Brent Key, he's done a great job at Georgia Tech. I know they lost last week, but Georgia Tech, I know they're in a recruiting hotbed. They have some disadvantages. They don't invest a ton. It's a pretty big academic school,
Yep.
Joey, so, like, they don't view their football program like a lot of other schools in that region do. And so for him to have them in the mix to win that conference this year and potentially be a playoff team, they should have beat Georgia last year in that crazy 7-8 overtime game, whatever it was. He's a young, energetic guy as well. I mean, I would not be shocked if he gets one of these SEC jobs.
Yeah, what he's been able to do with Haynes King, I mean, you look at what's happened for him in his career. He comes from Texas A&M, goes to Georgia Tech, and he's playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the entire country. I think that Brent Key, if he gets an opportunity, I think he'd do really well. And I think he's similar to Jeff Brom. When you're Auburn right now and you just need stability, Brent Key would be a good guy to hand those keys to.
And Brent Key has done with Haynes King what Hugh Freeze failed to do with Jackson Arnold.
Yep.
And take a athletic talent, play into his strengths, make it work. Did not work with Arnold. Not saying that's all on Hugh Freeze, but Haynes King, like you said, has become one of the more dynamic college football players. All right, what is the best head coach opening right now? I do think this is the top four. Auburn, LSU, Florida, or Penn State. Give us your thoughts in the comments. Joey, how would you rank these 1 to 4? And then I'll give my order as well.
I would probably go, even though LSU's got a lot happening with their athletic director or lack thereof and the governor, I would still put that at 1.
Agreed.
I'd probably put Florida at 2, then Penn State, then Auburn.
Yeah, I think LSU's 1. I think Florida, Penn State, I think you could debate for a while. And then I think Auburn is 4 out of these 4. But I think you can win at all these places.
I do. And you have won at all these places.
Yeah, exactly. They've all been in the mix for a while. Okay, we are sponsored by Prize Picks. We'll get to our top 5 candidates here in a moment. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is very simple. Takes less than 90 seconds to create an account. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Takes less than 60 seconds to submit your first lineup. What does a lineup look like, Harrison? Well, it looks like this. You pick 2 or more players, up to 6, on 2 or more different teams. Can't just pick players all from the same team, but you can cross over sport if you want. And you pick more or less on different stats available. We're talking passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, even more or less on first carry type of stats, like J.K. Dobbins right there. Tons of different things available with Prize Picks. Prize Picks also has a cool feature where you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app, at HGramNFL if you want to follow me. Copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, Joey. Clark Lee, the head coach at Vanderbilt, has obviously done a terrific job. I'm not sure people realize how difficult that job is.
Yeah.
I do wonder, and I don't think everything they're doing is Pavia magic, but, like, if Pavia is not the quarterback, like, I am curious to see if he could keep this up once Pavia leaves. Now, they look better on defense. He has recruited well, but is this a lightning in the bottle situation, or is this a sustainable thing he's got going right now?
And if it is, this seems like it's time to strike while the iron's hot, because you look at the disadvantages of coaching at a school like Vanderbilt. Obviously, you're bottom tier of the best conference in college football in the SEC. You also, when you think of transfer portal, recruiting kids, there are academic standards they've got to live up to that are unrealistic if you want to get the top talent in the sport. So Clark Lee, I feel like you said, maybe it's a question of they've caught lightning in a bottle with Diego Pavia, but you got to look at what he's done with Vanderbilt regardless of that and be impressed by it.
That's pretty impressive. Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. Is Auburn enough of a step forward to leave Missouri, Joey? I think that's an interesting question. I think the other three are. Like, if Penn State came calling, if Florida came calling, if LSU certainly came calling. I think Auburn's a better job. Is it so much better, though, than to leave Mizzou? Because, like, again, Auburn, they'll just pivot off you quick.
Yep.
So I do wonder if he would leave Missouri for Auburn.
Yeah, it feels like he's built something there. It feels like he loves his staff. He loves the community loves him. The interesting thing with Eli Drinkwitz is if you look at his SEC schedules over the past couple of years, Missouri's gotten really lucky. Yep. And so is he an amazing coach? He could be. Or has he just benefited from playing in a great conference with a weaker schedule? I guess we'll find out if he takes a new job at some point.
Yeah, I do think he's good. How good is he? I think is up for debate. James Franklin at number 3. I'm very curious to see where he lands. I kind of like the fit at Florida. It's kind of a more buttoned-up university. He's a buttoned-up guy. Like, I don't know if he fits in one of these small Auburn, Alabama college towns. Like, I just don't know. I like the Florida fit better, but we'll see. I'll be interested to see if Auburn takes a look at James Franklin.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where James Franklin ends up. You know, there's a lot of rumors about Virginia Tech. I'm one that have said a lot recently. I think Arkansas should, really give a look into James Franklin. I think that'd be a home run hire for the Hogs, but obviously we're talking Auburn right here. I think he'd be a pretty good fit. But the thing about Auburn is a lot of their fans, like a lot in the SEC, they might have some unrealistic expectations, and they probably don't think James Franklin's good enough for them.
I can't remember who tweeted this, but I saw this the other day. It said they were like coaching carousel predictions. They were like, yeah, Penn State could use someone like James Franklin. It's pretty funny. It'll be interesting to see if over time if that was the right decision or not. Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. Producer Jack is dying in his seat right now. The Sun Devil alum, but Dillingham's also an alum of Arizona State. So I think you're going to have to offer him a lot. A big contract, a significant NIL package, a lot of money to bring a staff, Joey. Like, I don't think he's leaving Arizona State willy-nilly. That being said, Arizona State's not going to be able, like, eventually they're just not going to be able to offer what certain schools do. So is Auburn that job? I actually don't think it is. Like, I think he'll hold out for something better.
I agree with you. I think he's kind of in the Eli Drinkwitz kind of category here. Is Auburn a big enough step up? Now, it's a bigger step up to go from Arizona State to Auburn than Missouri to Auburn.
Big 12
but I do believe that Kenny Dillingham believes in himself. He's happy at Arizona State. Obviously, he's an alum there, loves being there.
He's 35, too, so he's got a lot of time to be patient here.
I think he's going to play this one patiently, wait until a bigger job comes open sometime in the future, and see if he can strike with that one.
And then John Summerall, there's been a lot of buzz already with him and Auburn. There's been chatter, would LSU hire the Tulane coach? It's probably a tough sell. But if you're Auburn, that's pretty good hire if you get this guy. I mean, what he's done at Tulane is really impressive. He's already recruiting in that area. He should be able to bring in a nice staff. Like, I think if you're Auburn and you could get this guy signed up today, like, I would probably just jump out ahead of it because you're not LSU.
No.
You're not Florida or Penn State. Like, it's going to be tough to out-recruit those guys from a coaching search perspective. If you can get John Summerall, I think that would be a home run.
Yeah, I do too. Right now, John Summerall is actually the odds leader to be the next head coach of LSU. Obviously, those are betting odds. Those aren't gospel. But if Auburn is able to lock him down sometime soon, we talked about LSU's coaching search maybe going a little bit longer than they would originally want it to because of some coaches like Lane Kiffin that are going to be in college football playoff contention. That's not the case with Tulane. That could be a hire that could be made right when the season's over, get him on the plains, and see if he can start with his 2026 signing day.
Really, you could have this done by like Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Realistically. So it'll be interesting to see who should be the next head coach at Auburn. You guys let us know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. Plenty more college football, NFL, and NBA coverage to come here on Chat Sports. All right, we are going to sign off here as this was the college football playoff bracket revealed. We went through the full top 25. This is how the bracket sits right now. Joey, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
All I know is that we're going to look at that bracket 5 weeks from now, and it is going to look very, very different. It always happens. It's the best sport on earth for a reason. Every single time we go into a weekend and we, just like last weekend, not that many interesting games. And then Miami goes down, Georgia Tech goes down, Oklahoma beats Tennessee. Anything can happen every single weekend. Can't wait to see where it all ends up.
Do you have a team that's not like in the top 12 bracket or even in the top 15 that you're like, keep an eye on that team come the final playoff rankings?
That's a good question. I would have to see them again to really give my answer. I'll
give you one.
Give me one.
Iowa. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I've been the anti-Iowa guy forever because I hate the way they play football. But they're actually not completely putrid this year offensively. If they beat Oregon on Saturday, their remaining schedule at USC, another opportunity to get a nice win.
Yep.
Michigan State at home, who they should beat. At Nebraska, who's without Dylan Raiola the rest of the season. They win Saturday. USC Iowa next week could be an elimination game. The winner of that game could be the team that's in the late teens right now that vaults up and makes the college football playoff.
It's going to be a fun game this weekend. Oregon, Iowa, two pretty much opposite styles of football teams, but
only 5.5 point favorite right now, the Ducks.
Ooh, it's going to make for good television. Can't wait to see how that shakes up.
That
the playoff
feels like
rankings.
a Kinnick upset alert. We'll have it all covered. We'll be back next Tuesday for the next college football playoff rankings. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.